Rugby League test has been played in this city since 1928. The first time a Rugby League test has been played at this very impressive venue, Forsyth Bar Stadium, that opened mid-2011. Enthusiastic crowd in as we check in on the results so far in Four Nations. We're up to game number 5. England opened with that 6-point win over Samoa. New Zealand, terrific win over Australia. And then 2 thrillers last weekend. The Kiwis by 2 over Samoa and Whangarei. And the Aussies got out of jail against England by 4. And that leaves us with the standings. Not just the points tally, but the points differential. So important going into today, and indeed at the end of 80 minutes today. We'll keep you across all of that, because what happens here will impact enormously on tomorrow. Australia versus Samoa in Wollongong. Kiwis' arrival here in Dunedin. Mixed week as far as weather is concerned. That's not a problem come game night. The indoor stadium here. New Zealand, look, it's a simple equation for them. They win, of course, they're into the final. If they lose, well, then it's in the lap of the gods with 4 and against. If they lose by more than 10, England will edge ahead of them, and they will have to wait and see what happens tomorrow between the Aussies and Samoa. And England, well, their last Four Nations visit to this part of the world was pretty disappointing. They won only 1 match. That was against Papua New Guinea. They don't want to go home again this time without tasting what it's like to be in a decider. And they've made a couple of changes to their side to get themselves ready for today. Look, it's a key change. At hooker, you will see Daryl Clark is starting. No Josh Hodgson this week, so a lot of minutes from the man of steel from the Super League this year. And the number 18, Elliot Whitehead. You won't know too much about him, but believe me, he's been a star in the Super League. 19 tries playing with the Catalan Dragons, who qualified for the finals and almost got all the way to the final this year. So very happy for him that he has made the England side for this one tonight. I think it's a better side for his inclusion, and with Clark starting at hooker. Coached by Steve McNamara, the England side. Kiwis also making a couple of changes from their team of last week. Let's hear from the coach, Steve McNamara.
Steve, just the one change to your starting side, the reasons behind it?
Oh, we're very happy last week with the performance against Australia. Look, it was a fingertip from going one way or the other, so there was no need for drastic changes, and but just assessing the game and looking at what the opposition we've got this week, we felt Elliot Whitehead would be right to come in, and Daryl Clark starts.
How do you approach a game where you know you've got to win by a certain margin? Yeah,
just try and win the game. I think both teams are talking the same. It must be difficult for New Zealand knowing they can lose, but not by so many, and for us we have to win by so many. So that's out of the equation. It's a test match. It's New Zealand in New Zealand. It's extremely tough. We've got to go through the process of winning a normal game, and hopefully that'll be enough for us.
Steve McNamara there, coach of England. This New Zealand side, well, I feel desperately sorry for Lewis Brown. He was great the first 2 weeks, but he loses his spot.
A bit last week, a little bit with attitude, and so we prepared knowing that it's going to take a really tough performance tonight.
Best of luck, mate.
Cheers, thank you.
Let's hope we can get a repeat of the World Cup semi-final at Wembley last year. My co-commentator Daryl Haley.
Last weekend, big efforts required from Peter Hiku. Execution
Was at Wembley. Big crowd. He points to 18. And here are the Kiwis, led out by Simon Mannering. Terrific reception, and tonight Mannering moves to 5th on the all-time list of appearances for New Zealand, ahead of Nathan Kalis.
Also a special evening here, Vossi, for the young lady who will sing the English national anthem this evening. Sophie Morris is the daughter of Dr. Paul Morris, who was a Kiwis doctor in 89 and 90. Also a black belt in jiu-jitsu as well.
We will stand by for the anthems. Mannering also ahead of Nigel Vunganar on that list of test appearances. The crowd here, I can tell you, on the broadcast side of the ground, the northern side of the ground, it is absolute to capacity. A little under on the southern side. And now God save the Queen. And a fair contingent of English support here at the ground tonight, and indeed in the city of Dunedin. This is quite the event. We've been here the last couple of years to Dunedin for pre-season trials. Warriors against Brisbane. And while there was a good feel at both of those games, in particular before the 2013 season kicked off, nothing like this. And I mentioned the city tonight, those not at the ground, the Craft Bar right in the centre of town. There's a huge crowd there, and they've put out the England and New Zealand colours. As now we await the haka. Isaac Luke at the centre of it all. We're firing up here at Forsyth Bar Stadium. It is 22 years since Great Britain beat New Zealand here in New Zealand. This is the 10th time that New Zealand has played England, and the Kiwis have the advantage. 5 wins. England have won 3. There has been 1 draw.
Bossy, just a quick hello to the New Zealand Women's Rugby League team, who tomorrow play the Jillaroos down in Wollongong in the curtain raiser to Australia versus Samoa, the last pool match in this Four Nations.
Phil Bentham, referee. Controversy over non-neutral referees. We've got Phil Bentham, the man from Lee, in charge here. Henry Perinara is video referee. Not too far away from a start. They clashed in the Four Nations in 2010 in Wellington. There's a few survivors from that match, if you like. The Kiwis were winners on that occasion, 24-10. Let's have some fun. Game 5 of the Four Nations here in Dunedin tonight. And Smith took the catch for Burgess to come storming back on the first hit up. viewers across Sky Sport in New Zealand, Jim on Channel 9 in Australia, Premier Sports in the UK. Great to be with you tonight. And for those of you in the early hours in the Northern Hemisphere, there are half a dozen Wigan players in this England side. Well, here's my first stat. They're 19,000 kilometres from home tonight. As Farrell works the left edge. And Lillawai low down with Johnson over the top. 15 metres inside their own half. And Graham now with the ball. He, in fact, was captain of the England side back in that Four Nations game in 2010. Kick downfield from Smith. You heard the call. Clearly outside. Hickey on the charge to bring it back from New Zealand.
Good set to start for this English side. Graham, of course, 2 touches. Burgess in the middle of it as well. Hickey catches it on the full.
This is a fantastic venue as Kenny Dow took that touch. We are indoors. The roof internally 37 metres above the playing surface. I reckon Sean Johnson might give it a shake tonight.
There's only been one player who's ever kicked the ball that's touched the roof, and that was Stephen Larkham of the Brumbies, would you believe, coaching the ACT at the time.
40 metres away from the England line. And now Taumalolo. There's the footwork that we've come to know and admire of this young Cowboys back rower. Lillawai back to centrefield Johnson. Here comes the first kick of the night. It's not at his Warriors teammate. It's out towards Hall. He goes up. Kiwis have got it. Nightingale has come down with it. Nightingale, I think, has scored for New Zealand. Referee Bentham is checking with his sideline official. There was the smallest bubble, and they will just check it.
It's on the last tackle.
With a video referee.
We've got to try. We're just checking whether the ball's been knocked onto the English fella.
Correct here. If the ball, when it's not taken in its first catching attempt by Nightingale, who did oh so well to get up and above Hall, and maybe it's just touched an English jumper before he regathers it and comes to ground. Someone ends up on his back.
Rob.
Such was the contest. Good kick from Johnson. What about the run from Taumalolo? An early touch down the left channel. Step to the right.
Okay.
And here,
got Tom Lillawai as well for them, re-gripping.
We'll have a little bit of a look. Only one player offside.
That's Jesse Bromwich. He won't play any part in the chase.
Good height on the kick, and what lands a metre and a half out from the try line. Near perfect. Hall doesn't really go up for it. Doesn't look like there's a touch there, although that camera's a fair way away. Let's have a look here.
Ooh,
well, if it has come off Hall, it's then gone to Nightingale, so it's a try. There's no problem. Once actually ball ends up closer to Nightingale, that is sweet.
I think you've read it the right way, and how spectacular is that in slow motion of Nightingale, the juggle. It's rolled across his eyeballs just about. He has scored a try in each of the first 2 weekends of the Four Nations. He's also bombed one, but this is a pretty handy trick. Watch it again.
He had them trimmed this afternoon. Up it goes. Just grabs the right arm as it goes up the forehead, or the forearm, should I say, and then traps it. Brilliant work. Such a competitor.
23rd test. Nightingale scores for the Kiwis.
Ryan Hall swallowed everything Australia pumped his way in the test match last week. Had a fine match too. Loved the try he scored. But he does get very square when he's catching the football. This time, he actually gets to his side. Here's the run from Taumalolo. Lovely how he just moves his body in amongst the line. And then the finishing play, near perfect from Johnson. He can actually kick it higher than that, believe. And so here, he does get side on. Perhaps he just gets a little bit in front of the ball, Hall, and ends up catching it back over the top of his head. But Nightingale, wow.
Well, I would say, in the scheme of things, with Sean Johnson's best bombs, that is half what he could do, but it's where it come down, and that's the point you've made. Just short of the goal line. All momentum is with the chaser. And Nightingale had the big leap on Ryan Hall, and now Johnson, the player that absolutely crushed the hearts, obliterated the hearts of England in that World Cup semi-final last year, scoring the try and converting the try to win. As this first kick inside 3 minutes. And Johnson is successful. 6-0, golden start for the Kiwis.
Not such a great day with the boot last week in Whangarei. You get a picture of Jason Nightingale, the try scorer. Pretty windy conditions, however. Won't have any of those effects here in the stadium this evening.
Stay off. Onside, boys.
So England a little rattled by that, and Sam Tompkins gets us into the next passage of play. 12-0, the Kiwis led that match back in 2010 as Blair is met by the white wall, and that's what they like to call it for England. 4 defenders there in that tackle. And now Proctor. He's been good in particular. That first half against Australia 2 weekends ago. Melbourne Storm player in this New Zealand side. Here's another of them. And Bromwich driven back. Graham down low.
Waits on 3, go.
Burgess in there, in fact, the entire front row. Clark was the third of the trio. Now Luluai.
Good run from Luluai too, making 18 metres.
Plenty of test experience in the legs of Thomas Luluai. 33rd test tonight. And Isaac Luke off the bench, 31. On the board this evening. Away for Foran to kick. Doesn't get a challenge from O'Loughlin. Really an in-between kick from Foran. Went straight down the throat of Tompkins, and now Charnley with it.
The only good thing about that kick from Kieran Foran is he's actually boot the ball. No time at all to kick. Good chase from O'Loughlin. It was chasing up through. Here's Hall up through the middle.
Yeah, well, you got one beast on the left wing for England. You got one beast on the left wing for New Zealand. They are big boys. Hall and Vaduve. What about that run, Sarginson?
You reckon we can just script it to get Hall and Vaduve to come across and mark each other just for a couple of minutes? Entertainment value.
That would be nice. As Smith works right side, and Tompkins put out a fend, and Bromwich came across and added his weight to the tackle. But a promising set here from England. 30 metres away from the New Zealand line. Smith gets them to centre field. Graham met by Blair.
Keeping the tackle count. Dean Farray playing right centre, rushed up and shut down a pretty desperate situation for New Zealand. As he's done all competition.
Tap with England, and Burgess soldiers forward to take it inside the 20 for the first time tonight for England. Widdop takes it right. Smith, brilliant build-up. Tompkins is manhandled there by Kenny Dow. A little tap on, they just about score. Now Watkins back to centre field. Dangerous. Has scored a try in each of the first 2 weeks as well. 5 from the line. Clark is dummy half. No backup hooker tonight. Now Widdop. Again, it's brilliant with Tompkins out to Hall. That is fantastic execution from England. Sarginson the last pass. Hall scores on the left, and what a swift reply.
Magnificent. A penalty deep in the last set of 6 means a repeat set of 6 for England, and their attack blistering. Done a lot of work on the right-hand side, and that's attacking the Kenny Dow side. We knew they'd go there, and then equally adept on the left. Lovely pass by Widdop to Tompkins. Out the back. Could have scored himself, Sarginson. Selfish, or unselfish, should we say, in giving it on to Hall. But just beautiful execution. Nightingale didn't know whether to go up, come back. Possibly a better move would have been to put some pressure on Sarginson. No way Johnson was going to get there.
You and Callum not making it back.
Now 20. That man on scoring drought was tonight. Widdop. It was indoors, of course, at Millennium Stadium in Cardiff for the opener of the World Cup, and off the upright. 6-4 scoreline. New Zealand, England, tense tonight.
Yes, mate, that's better.
How's she going to last 80 minutes? We've got Owen Guttenbill on the sideline. Owen loving the atmosphere here.
Oh, outstanding with the roof on. The sound just bounces around the ground. I know the English boys were really excited about playing here. They fancied themselves to play an up-tempo game. Just on those 2 tries, the clearing kick, the set before from England, Smith's kick, straight down the throat of Pitahiku, New Zealand score. Kieran Foran, his kick goes straight down the throat of England. They come down, take the metres, they come up with points. Very important to find space with the kick.
The bulk of the supporters in black here tonight agreed. Bentham says last tackle. Widdop is going to bomb towards Hiku.